Hi people of Sounding Board, I'm Agis261 and I'm here to talk about RoboCop 2 and 3. We've already did a review of RoboCop, the original, and RoboCop 2014. Now it's time to talk about the other two RoboCops, which kind of fall short compared to the original. They don't have quite the social commentary or the violent level of the original RoboCop, or really wrote that good. They're both done by Frank Miller, and the second one is done with Frank Miller and Waylon Green, and the second one's done with Fred Decker and Frank Miller. RoboCop 2 is basically RoboCop fighting RoboCop 2. RoboCop 3 is the renovation of old Detroit, basically. It finally happens, but not under the old man, but under a new company which absorbed OCP. And the films I would say are good afternoon no-brainers. The coolest thing is RoboCop. I like RoboCop 3 better than 2 because RoboCop gets a jetpack. Who doesn't want to see RoboCop fly around and stuff like that? But everyone knows Frank Miller in the comic book industry because he wrote The Dark Knight Returns. He wrote Sin City. He wrote The 300. These movies, the later two, Sin City and 300, became movies. And like most of Frank Miller's work that got translated into film form, the ones that work, unlike The Spirit, which Frank Miller directed and wrote, which was a hunk of crap. Not even Samuel L. Jackson could save that one. But 300 and Sin City were both helmed by, one was by Zack Snyder and one was by Robert Rodriguez. Both directors that have vision and talent. And they took Frank Miller's work and put it on the screen very truthfully. And so when we see Frank Miller's work used, like let's say for RoboCop 2 and 3, he spends a lot of time meandering and backpedaling, trying to tell a social commentary and a story about, is Murphy a man, a machine, or a product? And this was resolved at the end of RoboCop 1 when he turns to the camera and the old man asks, "What's your name, son?" "My name is Murphy." And then it cuts to the whole splash of RoboCop across the screen and a big broad music playing. And so we then start RoboCop 2 and he's just basically, what am I? We start RoboCop 3, what am I again? And at the end of each film, he's always resolving, I am Murphy first, a man second. But I'm a product to no one. Which the product means he's a slave to the company. And so, yeah, there's just so many problems with them that you could go on and on and on about them. And out of all four of the RoboCop films made to date, only the first one is the most superior. That one you can watch and it's a good standalone sci-fi. It has an opening, an ending, and a closing. And it has what Rob would call plot points in it that work. The RoboCop 2 and 3 both have plot point problems. And they throw some comical stuff to make it kind of funny, humorous, ha ha ha, trying to lighten the mood from the last one. And they just they kind of fall short, like when they give RoboCop emotions. And he's walking to the street going, telling kids, don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do that, because OCP rewrote his program to make him more friendly, street friendly, and it doesn't really come off as funny, but it comes off kind of tedious and almost a waste of time to a film goer. But if you were going to see it for free, yeah, I'd have no problem with it. If it was on TV as a TV episode, it'd be no problem because it's just maybe a half hour, 45 minutes of my life lost. This is like 2 hours lost for each one. But like I said, they may be hours lost, but they're good afternoon movies to watch if you have nothing better to do. Like, who doesn't, like I said, who doesn't want to watch RoboCop with a jetpack? Because I prefer 3 over 2. And in RoboCop 2, he fights RoboCop 2, literally. RoboCop 2 is what it's called. And in RoboCop 3, he fights cyber ninjas. And the robot ninjas are fine and dandy, but it's like, did you really need to have RoboCop fight ninjas? Was that kind of like leaping the shark with the series? When you got, well, what are we going to do? First off, we're going to remodel Detroit, and it's going to be a Japanese company. So what's a Japanese company going to do? They're going to have robo-ninjas instead of robo-cops. And so you're there going, okay, what are we going to give RoboCop to balance it? Well, we'll give him a jetpack, which is kind of fun for the anime sense. And other than that, yeah, like I said, he spends a lot of time going back and backpedaling between what Murphy is, and they could have done better with them both at the time, but I think the studios just cranked them out to cash in on, well, if RoboCop 1's a success, people are going to pay for RoboCop 2 and 3. And so I think that's why RoboCop, we remember RoboCop and remember the series of that, because the original RoboCop's a Western. The other two are kind of like the bastard children of that you don't want to talk about. And you don't hear people talk about RoboCop 2 or 3. And when they talk about Frank Miller's film work, they don't talk about RoboCop 2 or 3. So that should tell you something, that these are not great films. But as I close, I'm saying these aren't great films, but they're okay films to see, to kill an afternoon with. You know, but we're going to go on the sounding board and talk about a few more weeks of more other cybernetic type stories about the man and the machine, or the ghost in the shell, depending on how you look at it. So until next time, Tony and Robbie will be back to review whatever movie we choose to this Saturday to showcase, I should say. And I think they want to really do Cyborg. But if it's not Cyborg, it might be Universal Soldier or Ghost in the Shell. So until next time, this is Agis261 signing off. Thank you.